Hello and welcome. Today we are very happy that we are going to start a new topic. The topic is called JSA. It's part of risk assessment, and before starting this chapter I would like to thank all of you that you have given a lot of support, appreciations, regard, and I am overwhelmed because of your excellent support and liking and sharing my YouTube channel and watching it properly. Thank you very much again. So let's start for JSA. JSA is part of risk assessment, okay, and risk assessment is very good chapter, very advanced things, and usually in the field of safety, from safety officer to manager, this task is being assigned to us by our management and client to go for this preparation. But exactly the JSA, I would like to clear here that JSA is not part of safety to be developed by themselves. JSA need to be prepared by a competent site and technical engineer, and safety department, safety personnel is part of to be of that reviewing and supporting team. It's not his accountability to go and prepare the JSA, because the JSA is made based on SOPs. This is called a standard operation procedure. A standard operation procedure. What is a standard operation procedure? We can say method statement. Method statement, okay, and somewhere it is called standard operation procedure. Operating, what is called operation? Operating means to do the activity by themselves. How to operate, how to start, how to perform, how to execute, that's called operating. So these two documents are method statements are the sole documents they are required to prepare JSA. On the topic you can see I have mentioned two words: job safety analysis and JHA. So what is different between these? Actually, in American standard, job safety analysis is part of American standard, because this terminology first time originated from American standard, and JHA, job hazards analysis, is also part of that. Somebody pronounce it hazard, but no, it's not hazard, it is called hazard, because it's noun and it's adjective, so we need to stress on the first syllable, okay. So it is called job safety analysis and JHA, job hazard analysis, okay. In the OSHA standard, this is a technique to help identify what behavior is in operation, okay, are safe and correct. It is a form of task analysis. What is called task analysis? Okay, one thing I will tell you here, what is different between job and task? Very important point here, because job is a complete process and series of tasks. Like so many tasks makes one job. So many tasks make one job. What is that one? Suppose we can say welding activity. We can say welding job. In the welding job, we have to go for different steps, different tasks. Okay, for the welding activity, we need to bring PME. This is called abbreviation PEME. What is called PEME? Like for welding job, we need to bring one person who is competent, trained, certified for welding activity. Am I right? E, equipment, welding machine, welding rod, welding cables, welding, devices, all set of the welding machine. And then we can say material. What material? There are a lot of materials required for the welding activity, welding work. Okay, then we have to consider environment in which we need to perform this activity. So person, equipment, material and environment, these 4 points need to consider for one job, that's called welding activity. Why environment is important? Because if there is any combustible material, there is any flammable material, the area is not safe for the work, there is highly toxic gases, combustible like flammable gases. So in that situation we need to consider environment too. So this document will be developed based on this is a standard document, SOP, safe standard operation procedure, and this job will be, suppose the welding job will be divided in several tasks, and that task will be analysis one by one in the step form. I hope it's clear, in a step form. Okay, some call the procedure job hazard analysis, yani JSA and JHA both are equivalent word, and they are similar. Next point we can go, JSA should consider abnormal activities. Where it is required? Shall we require to prepare JSA for normal and general activities? No. As per standard, it needs to be developed by competent engineer based on their standard operating procedure, and based on that they need to make the JSA for some critical activity. Abnormal, we can see here, abnormal means it is, we can say critical, we can say it's critical, it's advanced, it's normal, not daily routine activity. For that JSA is not required. Okay, and condition, not just normal routine operation. For the routine operations and normal activity, we don't need to prepare any JSA as per standard. Okay, so we clarify here, so many tasks can make one job. So it's clear why it is required. It is a standard requirement for OSHA, occupational health and safety. Okay, and it's a American standard. We need SOP, standard operation procedure, like method statement or some executive plan to prepare the JSA, and based on that we need to decide and we can prepare this JSA. Okay, let's go for next. You can see here I mentioned one word here, risk assessment. Risk assessment is not American standard, it's British standard. Remember this point, it's very important. You find the 5 steps of risk assessment that do not belong to American standard, it's belong to British standard. Okay, out of that I would like to say a few words about this, because currently I am working in Saudi Aramco standard. So in Saudi Aramco standards there is one SMG guide which number is 06003, and CSM. This both document explain to us that how to develop JSA. Okay, in previous slide I explained to you that what documents are required for that, who is going to prepare, and how to prepare. So next step we need to discuss about, I will go for the practical exercise, how to make it. Okay, so risk assessment is not part of British standard, sorry, American standard, it's British standard, and that's why Aramco mostly follow American standards. That's why they are emphasizing for JSA, In some area client may ask questions to you and me too, that we need to develop bit like risk assessment. Okay, depend on the requirement. Okay, but all activities are being covered by JSA. Let's go forward. Okay, this point I just only brought for your notice and information that, but this should be detailed discussed in risk management system. When I will go for risk assessment and management, in that series I will explain a lot to you. Okay, for the risk assessment we need to go for the severity component of hazards assessment. Okay, severity and a probability. Severity can be say consequences. It can be said, it can be called consequences. Probability like likelihood. It can be said likelihood. So it's both name. Okay, severity, consequences, probability, likelihood. Okay, so risk assessment or hazard risk assessment can be divided in two parts. First is called from here to here. This portion, two portions are hazards identification and then assessment of the hazards. Suppose I identify one hazard, so I need to go for the categorization. Okay, it is like a minor, major, catastrophic, negligible, acceptable. So what type of hazards is that? On that basis we need to go for the assessment. So that's why identification and assessment is part of assessment. It's part of assessment. Then we have to go for the management. Management means how to control and mitigate, because we cannot reduce, we cannot completely abolish, or we cannot completely remove risk from the workplace. We have to manage up to the acceptable level. That's why risk is called inherent risk. Inherent, that the risk is already in the root of that activity. It's come with the lineage, it's come from the root, that's called inherent. And after applying so many mitigations, control measures, and ultimately we find that there is some risk is present, still it's present, that's called reduced risk. Okay, it's reduced but it's also exists, so that's called acceptable level. Okay, we need to accept. So these two portions are assessment. Now three objectives are here, they are called management. So you can see control, develop and decision make. How to develop the control and what decision need to be taken to mitigate, control and reduce. Then implement and then supervise and evaluate that we applied a lot of control measures and still it is functioning or not. Are we able to control the acceptable risk or not? We applied a lot of control measures and still there is some near misses and incident and accident occurred because of that. So it means we have not identified correct hazards, we didn't assess it very well, and all the control measures both are not effective. It's not effective. So that's called process of risk assessment or hazards identification, and it's based on severity and probability. Even we can say consequence, it's called likelihood. Probability is also called chance. Okay, so these are the steps for identifying, like this portion, assessment and management. Suppose the doctor found that a person is suffering with some disease. This is called his assessment, and then he go for the medical treatment like X-ray, blood test, and whatever he did, and he checked his pulse and a heart, whatever, and he found that the person has like some disease. We can say TB. He has TB, tuberculosis. Then he has to go for the management, like treatment. That treatment will be called management. Similarly for the activity as well. Okay, let's move forward. So JSA has been divided in 7 parts. This part is last one. Actually it is not, this is also part of JSA, but first what we have to do, we have to go for basic steps to conducting a JSA, job safety analysis. Okay, you can see here, this word is very important. It is called job. Okay, very recently we discussed and task. One job has so many tasks. One job has so many tasks. Okay, so that's why it is mentioned here job. Welding activity is a job, and welding activity has different tasks. Welding, before that we need to bring the machine, we need to place the machine, we need to connect all the wires, connections, electrical connections, and hoses, whatever it requires are there. Then we have to arrange fire extinguisher, area preparation, all these things. So these all are called tasks. While lifting, suppose we are going to bring our welding machine from our yard, and then we have to lift and drop on the ground. So lifting activity is also involved there, and a lifting task is also associated. So in one job there are so many tasks. Okay, so how to identify, how to break the job into segment. So you can see here the basic steps in conducting a job safety analysis are, what are? Select the job. So we have selected one job, that is called welding job. Okay, in the welding job we are going to break down the steps. So how many steps are there? I will just write down few words here to understand well. Okay, suppose site preparation, then placing of welding machine. And why we are going to do some welding activity? Because of pipe, fit up, structural welding, structure. We have pipe fit up or structural welding, or we need to connect two members of the structure. That's called like fitting activity. So site preparation, placing of welding machines, pipe fit up, structures. So these all, even though there is some lifting activity, so these all will be listed in the JSA. That's called break the job into sequences, and then every sequence need to identify, like site preparation. For the site preparation, what are the hazards? How to identify the hazards? What are the risks there in the site preparation? Suppose 2 workers, 3 workers are working there, then we need to collect the permit, foreman, supervisor, or crew supervisor, safety officers, and the area is completely new for them. In that situation, they have to go use their navigation, GPS. That's lonely places. So in that situation, the area has so many hazards and risks. Okay, then placing of welding machine. For that we need to lift, we need to arrange, we need to connect. So lifting hazards are there. Fit up, we need to fit up the pipe and structures. For that we need to go for the lifting accessories, slings, shackles, pipe supports, how to fix it. 2 persons are going to align it. For the fixing, grind, we need to do for the grinding activity, we need to go for the cutting activity, we need to make the alignment. A lot of risks are there. Okay, then lifting activity, then the man will start, the welder will start what? For welding activity. In that we need to consider 4 things: PEME, Gentlemen, whenever you are going to prepare any JSA, you need to keep 4 points in your mind. These 4 points will be always involved in your activity. Like person, absolutely, without person you can't do any activity. E, equipment, like welding machine equipment, okay, pipe, crane, lifting accessories, side boom, whatever you are using, that are equipment. Then material, yes, absolutely, the welding structure, pipe fitting, welding rod, these all are materials. And environment in which you are going to perform the activity. Are you get clear? So 4 points need to keep in your mind when you are going to start any activity. So according to that, we need to assess each and everything. Okay, I will go for the practical how to make the JSA, but these are the important points to be explained here. Determine the preventive measures and control hazards. Okay, and responsible persons. Who is responsible person? Absolutely, welding activity, welding foreman, permit receiver, crew supervisors, management also involved, and the welder itself, operator, he is operating the device. Okay, so these all are responsible person. For one clarification I would like to tell, because it's very being emphasized on safety department that safety is responsible for that. Safety is just advisory body and monitoring body. You know that there are two types of monitoring, active and reactive, or we can say proactive and reactive, both. So they are part of that, but they are part of responsibility, but not 100%. They are just only monitoring body. They are not executing the activity. Okay, they will just only cross check that the requirement, standard requirement, and actual working or acting activity is meeting with the requirement or not. That's it. Okay, then when the JSA will be prepared, then this JSA need to be communicated, discussed with the crew. Every day it's better and it's good practice for foreman and supervisor to discuss steps of the JSA, control measures and hazards. A step of the JSA, hazards, risk and control measures to all the workers, that in this activity what will be the hazards and risk there. Okay, so thank you very much for here. Then we can move forward. This is the practical form. Okay, how to make the JSA. This is the first cover page of the JSA. Okay, you can say JSA number will be there, issue date will be there, the subject. The JSA is developed for the welding activity, so we can write here welding activity. Okay, the area will be mentioned here, like some area A, B, C, department, NFT, something I am mentioning here just only randomly to understand. Date you need to mention here, and JSA number like 002, and you can say JMT. This is the area number. Okay, then descriptions of the activity, like welding. In the welding you can mention here fit up, alignment of a structure and pipe, whatever you are doing. Okay, so this description need to mention there, that why this JSA has been developed, for what purpose. Okay, then who is team of JSA preparation? JSA shall not be developed by safety department directly. It's very we can say it's myth in the society, in the construction field, that oh, this is safety job. No, this is not safety job. Can anyone prove that this is safety job? No, you cannot find and you cannot show me a single sentence nowhere written in national and international standard, OSHA, American, British, wherever you are going, you cannot show me a single sentence which is clearly indicating that this part, this JSA need to be developed by safety department. No at all, not at all. Okay, so 4 or 5%, 4 or 5, first of all, like welding, we can say welding engineer. Okay, 1 second. Suppose the welding engineer name is ABC, whatever his name is, ABC. His position welding engineer. Okay, finally he will sign. Okay, then second person, then third person, then fourth, then fifth. Everywhere he has to write their names here, their position and their signature. Okay, then it can go for the approval of the client, because finally we are performing this activity for their area. You can write here reference document. Suppose Qatar Gas, ADNOC, Saudi Aramco, British Petroleum, okay, like general government, ministry, road, transport, for whom you are working, you need to take their reference document, that's called a standard document, and that standard documents need to be benchmark, and the reference should be taken from there. Okay, so now it's clear up to here. We will go for the next. We discuss about the steps. We discuss about 7 steps, and that step, suppose one step is called welding activity. Then in the welding activity, we can go for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in welding activity, what will you do? First we will go for fit up. Then we can go for pipe support. Suppose we are doing pipe fitting. Okay, before that we can write here area. Like area preparation is a normal task, so it should not be mentioned here. Okay, so we can go for fit up, right? Then alignment of a structure and pipe. Okay, pipe support or a structure support. So these three activities, these are the tasks. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This is the job. There is one job, and fit up and alignment. We can say also here lifting. Lifting is also a step. Okay, so each step like fit up. In the fit up, what will be the hazards and risk? Suppose pinch point. Okay, second, caught between, like a person, he's fitting the 2 pipes together and by mistake his finger is going to come between two objects. Okay, caught between. Okay, then mechanical failure, because during the fit up, either you are using boom truck or crane or some lifting tools. Okay, so mechanical failure, these are called hazards for only fit up. Some other things are also there. Okay, like, okay, before going to this point, last time I discussed 4 things: PE, ME. Okay, so how to, this 4 point need to keep in the mind when you are going to identify the potential hazards. We remember, very important point. We remember this 4 point need to keep in the mind. Okay, to go for the potential hazards. Like pinch point, who will be involved? Some person will be involved, so we can say person here. Caught between, it will be also some person here. mechanical failure, it is called machine will be failure. Then we can say here fit up support failure. While we are going to align the two pipes, between that pipe we are going to provide some support to fix it, to make it align. Sometime it is going to be loose and like disconnected because of pressure. So what will happen? The fit up support failure, it's also, so it is called equipment, it's also equipment failure. Then you are doing your fit up activity in loose soil, congested workplace. Okay, even though we can say stressed because of inclement weather condition, like it's very hot, it's very cold, rainy, water accumulation, or sandy, or we can say sandstorm. So the environment is also being considered here. So these are the hazards related to one fit up activity. This is fit up, and according to that there are 4 hazards with the pinch point caught between: mechanical failure, fit up support failure, okay, loose soil, congested workplace, stress, inclement weather condition. Okay, even though we can consider here 2 things, we can say psychological stress. The management told that you need to finish this activity by today anyhow, at the end of the job you need to finish it. That is called psychological stress. Overload, lack of manpower, lack of resources, these all are part of environment, so environment need to consider. Now why the pinch point occurred? Because this person was unskilled, he was not so qualified, he has no experience, he is not sufficient and inadequate experience to do the fit up. He has some personal issue, he was thinking about his family, he has not received his salary on time, his son is sick, his wife is sick, his mother is sick, okay, and he could not sleep at the night. These all are the factors to go for the pinch point, and he doesn't know how to do this activity because he is unskilled worker, unskilled person. Okay, so these are the hazards. Then we have to go for the required hazards control measure. So what we have to do for the pinch point, we can give him some awareness for the task, that is called a skill training, safety orientations, work related training, what is pinch point, how to prevent it, how to control it. So these all need to go for the control measures. So for the pinch point, for caught between mechanical failure, for the mechanical failure we have to go for the so many things like documentation, procedures, like crane. Suppose we are using here crane. So in the crane also 4 things are going to involve. These 4 points are going to involve in the crane. Person, the operator, who is the person who is going to operate. Crane unit itself a machinery, an equipment, and in environment which is going to place. Like when we are going to fit up the crane, we need to go for the stability of the ground, we need to see the overhead power lines, any exposed pipeline, any exposed facilities. So we need to consider these all things, and then the man who is going to give the signal is rigger, the tools we are using like slings, shackles, these all. So ultimately we are coming for this point. So these points are very important, we need to consider. So when we are applying the control measures, this point need to also consider in the mind. Then who are the responsible person here? Okay, like for the pinch point, site supervisor, okay, permit receiver, management, safety officers. So these all people are accountable for that. Okay, so this is the brief information how to prepare the JSA. Let's go for the practical exercise. You can see here, this is a sample of the JSA prepared by someone, and I would like to show you that what mistakes are here and how to correct it. How to correct it, it is practical exercise. Okay, so you can see here there is one activity which is called cutting. Okay, what cutting? What cutting? First of all, it is unclear. It is unclear. What cutting? Like a structural, pipe, either it should be a structure or pipe something. Okay, because cutting is required for the metallic activity. It's metal, we are going to work with the metal. So we need to write here correctly that what type of cutting, gas cutting, what type of gas we are going to use for that. So this need to be mentioned here clearly. The step is like the job is not well written there. Job is not well written there. Okay. Then you see here the hazards have been mentioned here. It is correct. For the gas cutting he is going to utilize gas, oxygen, acetylene and oxygen both. So acetylene and oxygen when he is going to use for the gas cutting, so why we require a storage? Because improper storage of cylinder, we need to keep a safe distance from oxygen and acetylene, and there is proper connection. Okay, so improper storage slightly we can accept it, but not 100%. Okay, first we have to go for the connection, poor or loose connection. These are the potential hazards, because if the connection and fittings are not properly connected and not tightened well, there will be leakage of gases and it can mix together and there will be explosion. Flying particles, flying particles should be mentioned at the last, because when he is doing the torch cutting or gas cutting, some particles, metal particles can fly. Either it can enter your eyes, or it can be, because this will be called metal dust, it can go under through your nose, that's called inhalation. Okay, so improper storage we can accept for time being. Flying particle, it should be here. Fire and explosion, it's okay. Okay, but we can also write here poor or improper gas hoses connection. Okay, it's very important point here. Even though it is mentioned here defective gas flashback arrestor. Okay, this is good point, it's mentioned here. But one more thing we can add here, the man who is doing this activity, is he trained, is he approved by someone, is competent to do this activity or not? So we need to go for person, because we cannot deny these 4 words. We have to go accordingly. Okay, then we have to go there. Okay, so person who is doing this activity is trained, certified, qualified, skilled for this activity or not. So we need to consider that man is very competent for this activity or not. Okay, so this point need to mention also there. Okay, even though potential hazards, in the potential hazards we can also mention some unwanted combustible material, because it is also considering environment. Okay, so gas cutting, we have to go for so many potential hazards here. Not only these potential hazards are not sufficient, then we can go for the environment, defective gas, okay, and flashback arrestor. For the flashback arrestor, you can, the control measure has been mentioned here, so we can check one by one. Okay, even though we need to divide this segment, we need to divide this segment, because the control measure shall be relevant and very clear to understand, okay. You can see here point number 1, this is called potential hazards as per the man who has developed the JSA. 1.1, keep the cylinders segregated. Okay, he can write here also, keep the cylinders segregated in vertical position, okay, under shaded area. Okay, we are not storing in the store, but while we are working, because the sometime temperature is very high, so we have to go for segregated, ventilated, and under ventilation and vertical position, and it should be secured. How to do it? Should be secured with chain and trolley to keep it vertical. So this will be appropriate control measure. Empty and full cylinders shall not be mixed. Okay, but this is for storage. This is for storage, not at the work location. This should be in storage, because in the storage of gas or gas storage area, what we do, we divide the area in two segments, empty area and full. So in empty area, we don't need to go for such detail safety precaution, but when the gas cylinder is in pressurized, we can say potential storage stored, we need to take a lot of precautions. For the empty, we don't need to take for a lot of precaution, but for the pressurized position, we need to go for different and a lot of control measures. Okay, flying particles, double eye protection should be used while performing the activity. First of all, this man need to go for the training, awareness of like flying particles. What are flying particles? Okay, and yes, absolutely, he has to wear goggles, and double protection. Availability of the first aid kit. This first aid kit, it need to be the last, not first. Okay, and eye wash station to be available on the site. Okay, this is good point. Flying particles. Okay, these points should be here, and eye wash station, it's okay. Also control measure. Okay, even though we can add here one more point, in case of further emergency, the worker need to be transferred immediately to whom? To the clinic and hospital for the further treatment. Okay, so this will be control measure. He can wear the mask. Flying particles can go in two directions, either it can go into eyes or from your nose, that called inhalation. Inhalation also can cause some lungs disease, so he has to wear the mask. That's why in the welding activity, it is being emphasized and it is being encouraged welders to wear the 95 mask to filter the contaminated smoke and metal smoke, especially for metal smoke, because that's dangerous for the we can say lungs. Okay, so that mask need to be wear here. Okay, then it can be controlled. That is called control measures, and a competent supervision should be there to monitor. Safety need to present to monitor. So permit receiver, construction supervisor, foreman, or safety officer. Okay, it's acceptable area. It can be accepted. Okay, for the fire and explosion, okay, it is 3.1, use a FRC clothing. Before that, we can mention that the person should be trained and he must know what is fire hazards. Okay, this is also important point. All combustible material must be removed from the work location. It's okay. cylinder connection must be checked for the leak using soap solution. So this should be also here, this point need to be also mentioned here. Clamps must be used for the connection. It is applicable in Saudi Aramco mostly. Cylinder valves, regulator, gauge, fittings and hose shall be inspected for damage and leakage. So why not it should be here, okay. Flashback arresters shall be installed on all oxygen and fuel cylinders, regulators, and it should be third party calibrated as well, okay. So what more things we can write here? Explosion and fire and explosion, okay. So these points are okay, but we need to add few more points here, okay. For what? Combustible materials removed, this is very good points. They need to use FRC clothing, it's also good, okay. They need to remove all, they have to check these all points, it's also good. It's okay, we can accept for some control measures, but this point, this responsible person also need to be mentioned here in this section, okay. So now if these control measures are for this fire and explosion, then what will be defective gauge and arresters? What will be? Damaged gauge flash arresters shall not be used and must be immediately removed from the site, okay. But why didn't it was checked before? And anyway, now it's okay. Then we are going for the welding structure steel. Faulty electrical equipment. This is not proper hazards. We can say electrocution, because this is real hazards for the welding activity when there will be some connections, loose connection of electric equipments. So what are the hazards for electrical? What are electrical hazards? Burn, electrocution, shock, disruptions of your heart, and local area burn and redness, okay. So these are the potentials hazards for electrocution, for the electricity. So that's why I always request to all safety officers and safety professional, please consider the potential hazards related to the activity. Do not write irrelevant things here, So what are the, suppose I can write here a few things. Electrical hazards and risks. Number 1, electrocution, shock, burns, distraction, it's disruption of heart function, local area or contact point burn at the contact point. So minimum these are the risk and hazards of electric. Minimum, I am not going in such detail. Electrocution, shock, burn, disruptions of heart function, local area burn at the contact point. These all depend on voltage, root, resistance, amount and path. how much voltage it was, what are the root and path, okay, both are the same thing, root and path, resistant, grounding and these all things, bonding and grounding was done or not, amount, how many amount and voltage will be accepted the same, how much amount and voltage was exposed to him, and very important point also, duration, how many minutes and hours he was exposed to. Then you will be good persons to make the risk assessment and hazards identification. Otherwise you will think a lot and you will forget the main point. So you need to consider voltage, route of entry, resistance, amount of our voltage, path and duration. These 5 points, 6 points need to consider. Then you have to consider electrocutions, what will be the hazards, shock, burn, disruption of heart function, and even though we can also write here 6. Cessation of blood circulation. Absolutely, if your heart is disrupted, then blood circulation will be stopped. So these are the potential hazards for the electric, okay, electricity. You have to remember these points, and then you have to consider these points, then you can go for the control measures. So today this is the first point and we can say first class for the JSA. In the next class I will go for some more details. So thank you very much for your love and support. Thank you. I hope that you might have enjoyed my class, and if you have any doubt, any questions, please write to me and I will improve myself and I will try to guide you too. Thank you very much. Thank you.